RevolutionRadio.com. It's 2 in the morning on the East Coast of the United States. I have no idea what time it is down and under, but it is time for Shiny Side Out with Dave and Mecky. So I hope you have your tinfoil hat all made and cinched down tight over your ears. So take it away, Dave and Mecky.
I am unmuted. Fantastic. I'm Dave.
I'm Mecky.
That's the truth right there. And this is Shiny Side Out, broadcasting from Australia for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio. That is the home of fresh ideas. Buy some merchandise or donate if you like anything we say. It's an if, but donate anyway. Join us in the chat room where Mecky and I are right now and talk to us while we're on air. Mecky, did you know that this is show number 675?
570 and 600. I know it now.
That's how many weeks, give or take a few, that we've been on Revolution Radio.
Yeah, that's insane, isn't it?
I know. Each year there's some shutdown. You know, the station, it might conflict, our show might conflict with an all-night broadcast or something like for Christmas, for instance. Sorry, Festivus. And, you know, Festivus for the rest of us. So it's a few more weeks than that. Anyway, tune in to us online on your smart device directly via an app, or if you don't like all that stuff, listen at home on a Grace Tabletop Digital Radio. They owe me, Mecky, big time.
They sure do.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's nearly 600 of them ads we've done for them, free reads.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't think we started at the beginning with that. But, yeah, sure, why not? You know what? The show that's just concluded for the evening, before us, Solaris Blue Ravens show. Fantastic, as usual. As usual. Joanne Gajewski talking spirituality and dreams. And then they were also talking about the cybersecurity and protecting your identity and a whole bunch of really cool things. Love your show, Solaris. Love out to you, for you and your guest. Always a great show. But if you don't know who we're talking about, if you're listening to this on, let's say Rumble or Spotify or YouTube or Locals or wherever, even Facebook if you're watching this. It doesn't matter. You can do this too. You can go into the archives at revolution.radio. You can find Solaris and go through the back catalogue of her shows. Fantastic guests. Love her work. And look, it doesn't have to just be Solaris though. All the stations hosts are there. All the archives are free. You have to type a password to get in, which is a shame because if there wasn't a password, our deleted archives from many, many, many years ago, more than a decade ago, would be available to us to download through Wayback Machine. But sadly, no, the password presented Wayback Machine from getting into it, and so those are lost. If anyone has a copy of our lost shows, do reach out to us and see if we can get a copy from you. After all, they're ours. So it'd be lovely if you could do that. Mecky, I'm broadcasting today out of Dark and Junk Country.
And I, of course, I'm in the Rock Country.
Well, it's not, of course. You could be anywhere.
I could be anywhere.
In the past, he's like a ghost. In the past, Mecky's broadcast from all sorts of places around the world. And I'm only ever here or at my dad's. So when I do the show, otherwise, you know, if I'm traveling, I'm traveling. Which, well, you know, Mecky and I try to avoid the traveling on Sunday evenings, but because it's Sunday evening our time. But this show is going to air. I think it's 11 p.m. till 1 p.m. Californian time, Saturday night start. Eastern, it's 2 to 4 a.m. Here, it's 6 till 8 p.m. on a Sunday, which is really cool. Don't mind that at all. And you can catch Mecky and I, this is shameless cross promotion, you can catch us on Plato's Cave, 7 a.m. Eastern US time. both Tuesday and Thursday. Now, Mecca, just before we go, I'm going to hand it to you, but before we go any further, I'm just playing our intro video that should have music going in the background, but I can't hear it for some reason.
I can't hear it either.
There we go. Oh, you can't hear it anyway, because it doesn't broadcast over our Skype channel.
Oh.
But the US is currently under a tornado watch. And so if you're anywhere near Russellville, Red Bay, there's a whole bunch of towns on a map that I'm currently looking at. Berry, Fayette, Millport, Reform. If you know where they are, do seek shelter. That's not a good place to be. Now, Mackie, how was your week?
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
It was okay. It was
Yeah.
not bad. It was. Look, I've really been following the news even more so than I normally do, and and not just Trump, but everything that's going on in the world. And it's really, really interesting to see what's happening. And there's a massive push to the right of the political spectrum. Massive, gigantic. And it's exacerbated by now a number of attacks which were allegedly, allegedly because it hasn't been proven in court, but allegedly perpetrated by immigrants from mostly the Middle East and Central Asia and Europe, that is. With fatalities. And of course, that's what the news are focusing on, and rightfully so. It's a horrendous event. Of course, completely disregarding the millions of immigrants that are living quite peacefully amongst the population. But it's more and more now. I'm getting to the point where I'm wondering how much of this is actually false flag, because some of these. One of the attacks was actually done by a person he was Saudi Arabian. This is a couple of weeks ago, and he was very much anti-Islamic. He was just upset with the way that the German authorities were treating the Arab, or the Saudi specifically, asylum seekers, and he perpetrated an act. Of course, no one really cares that he is in fact not an Islamist at all. In fact, he's anti-Islamic, and that's why he actually had to run away from Saudi Arabia. Otherwise, they probably would have beheaded him. So it's really interesting. So all of these attacks that are happening are pushing the public opinion in one direction only, as you can imagine. I mean, come on, people will be looking at Donald Trump going, hey, look at America, right? He's deporting all these people, they're putting in Guantanamo or other countries off to the border, etc., etc. Now we'll see what the impact is on American crime rates and whatnot, but nonetheless, so people will look at that and go, okay, we'll look at that, and then leaders in Europe, and this is another interesting story, Dave, will have no choice but to
follow suit.
Well, not necessarily follow suit, but at least look at it. You see, there's no way Germany would ever do that. It's completely inconceivable. Germany would never deport immigrants in a billion years.
Wow.
Unless, no, it wouldn't happen. Completely, it's against the DNA now after World War II. It can't happen. However, if the right were to come to power,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
and if the pendulum swung that far, and it's already swinging anyway, right? I mean, Elon Musk is getting behind the right, both in the UK and in Germany, which I find astounding. And Vance met with the
UN.
No. He met with the leader for the far right AfD, Alternative for Deutschland, or Alternative for Germany.
Oh, okay.
He met with her. She was the chancellor candidate if they had won for that party. He met with her. That's like look, it would be like Roosevelt meeting with Ribbentrop. Right, or Goering, that's about what happened there. Like she's so far right, it's not funny, but he met with her, okay, and she's now meeting with the Hungarian leader, Orban, right, and it's
he's not left wing, Mackie.
No, completely right. They're all right.
That's right. Oh, because I was going to make the joke about the Hungarian leader. Yeah, but that's all right. Don't have to now.
It's all right.
Good. That's good.
But and the other thing that is really interesting to observe is how Donald Trump has elevated Putin from a pariah, which he was when he invaded Ukraine, to respected and I guess appreciated negotiation partner. And Trump said that no European powers will be invited to the peace negotiations between Russia and the Ukraine. America will be there, Russia will be there, Ukraine will be there. Mm-hmm. But what it looks like, and again, the historical parallels are mind-blowing. What happened before World War II actually broke out, more or less, right? Kind of, in a big way. There was a steel pact between the Soviet Union and Germany. It's called the Steel Pact. So they're actually allies, right? Before Hitler decided to invade Russia, and they divvied up Poland between themselves. Okay? So that's the kind of diplomacy we're seeing here now. We're seeing the heavy-handed. Let's divvy up some territories, and I just want to give you a quick rundown of where this has worked really, really well, which is nowhere. So rundown is finished, and I'll tell you where it didn't work. Okay, didn't work in the Middle East. They divvied up Poland, like I said, Russia and Germany. Right? That didn't work out. Anytime someone comes in to divvy up places, same with Central Asia or parts of Southeast Asia, for that matter, it ends very badly for everybody. Same with Africa, was divvied up more or less by the colonial powers, and all the borders we see are still a remnant of that time. The Middle East is the most glaring example of borders having been divided by the French, the English especially, and then to a lesser extent the Americans. So Trump is now he's divvying up Palestinian lands. He said, "I know we're going to take Gaza." Like what? Yeah, I was going to take it. Like again, I don't want to draw the parallel, but that's exactly what Hitler did when he said, "I'll take the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. I'll take Austria." Yeah, okay, yeah, you do that, and then he'll let Russia take parts of the Ukraine. I'm sure the plan is for Russia to take whatever it gained, and for Ukraine just to be happy with that. And I can't see that. But for Putin, it's impossible to have anything less, because too many people, his soldiers, have died. Mm-hmm. So it's almost 1 million now that have been not all killed, but wounded, etc. I mean, there's 1 million casualties on the Russian side right now. Thereabouts. That's a lot, Dave. That's a lot of casualties.
You can be really bad at math, and it's still a lot of casualties.
You could be really bad.
You could really be bad. I agree. I differ a little though with what the outcome might be. I think there's a little bit of Russia, little tiny bit of Russia that the Ukraine has taken would be used as a bargaining chip to get something back. But however much that is, it's still going to, I agree, it'll be a net loss to Ukraine in the end. I noticed that someone had dropped a drone with an explosive, dropped an explosive with a drone, I'll say it correctly, on the old nuclear meltdown Chernobyl site that broke through the concrete dome.
Yeah.
Like, any of that dust in the air is really bad. It's going to be bad for quite some thousands of generations of humans. So, whoever did it, don't know. I can't claim to know any of that except for what the damage has been filmed, the damage there. So, that can't be good. Remember the dam that went across the river? That's still not been remade. The nuclear power plant that powers, it's got four containment areas. Four reactors. It's got its water source compromised still. Whatever has to happen in rapid succession of whatever this outcome is. You can't imagine the food bowl of the world. That sounded like something got knocked over. Food bowl of the world. I can't imagine it getting back to normalcy anytime soon because all the unexploded ordnance are going to be in it.
Yeah.
That's not you just can't drive your tractor over where the mines are. It's not going to be good for anybody. Not everybody alive today will know where those mines were.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the maps. You know, the people who were on the Russian side that planted the mines from one direction, maybe they're not alive anymore. I know the Ukrainians, putting double rows and many rows, not just double rows, but many double rows of mines across fields and roadways and pathways that armoured personnel vehicles and tanks would be coming down. I know I've seen the videos of those, but I've not seen any of the videos of the Russian side's ones. I think the whole thing has taught us a huge lesson as far as conflicts are concerned, that the new way of war is not a boots on the ground war with machines that we're used to. There's now a drone, a little tiny drone you can buy at a hobby store.
Oh yeah.
Which is now more powerful than an armed, Green Beret.
And cheaper.
Oh, and they don't eat, right? So, yeah. Now, I know Russia has the fiber optic drones, but there's still limitations to the distance that they can go, but they're not affected by, jamming, which is really interesting. Mm-hmm. So, I'm a fan of historical weaponry stepping up, both sides stepping up. You make something, they counter it. Then you counter their counter, and it just keeps going until you've got an advancement in the battlefield, which is well beyond the imagination of people pre-deployment of their original idea. I just think it's remarkable how good we are. It's disappointing at the same time, but it's remarkable how good we are at innovation.
At killing each other, yes.
Yeah, specifically killing each other. Because, in my role, talking to a CIO about, what we could do in your computer environment, your ecosystem, how we can do this and this and this, but really it's going to depend on your appetite for change. Well, talk to our architects. But when I talk to them, they don't want to do any change. So I'm here to help you make change. But I don't know what to do. I've just given you a whole bunch of choices. How about we go down it? You asked questions. Let's go down that path. And this is it's a stagnant technology unless you need to do it. I'm going to put something else forward. Our Australian government, who has decided that to be able to use the internet and make posts commenting on things, you need to provide a government-approved identity in order to be able to make comments. It's going to be a year before it's enforced, but the technology they've just created over Christmas, since they signed the bill 6 weeks later, and to be able to provide the 100 points, which the government already knows about you. More than that. But the 100 points of identification include holding your phone in front of you, and it flashes like 5 different colors at your face in very quick, like a strobe light, quick succession. So it's being able to penetrate deep into the skin and also match the vein structure of your skin. and all the imperfections. And it's crazy that this is what it is, but this is where we live today. Now, our government in Australia has doubled down yet again on the scrutineering of what we do. We still have the British flag up in the top left corner of our flag, and England is not stopping its rampage of being able to silence people and lock them up in jail for countering some law that they just made up that is completely ridiculous, saying that in the future, if someone may be offended by something that you post today, then you're guilty. And the word may in there is ridiculous. And the word someone, because you might be posting to a private group in which are all like-minded people. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying you're, I don't know, neo-Nazis or anything. I'm just saying that if you post anything at all, even on Twitter, which is an open policy that says community notes are really important. So if you disagree with what this says, well, let's talk that through and see what it means. Even if you retweet something that someone else posted, that the other person wasn't in the jurisdiction of the England's laws, then just because you retweeted it, you can spend 2 years in jail. Some little old ladies in jail didn't even comment on it, just retweeted someone else's post.
Worse than rapists, these people are.
without even commenting, right? So, look, our government has doubled down. The US has gone, you know what? All of this is complete nonsense. Free speech is really important. Zuckerberg has openly said that he was towing the line. He got paid by the government to shut down discussions outside of the government's narrative. And now he's putting community notes on. I think they're already active. So he's done that. England, no, they've doubled down. Australia, well, we're following England. We're holding onto their pocket. And I don't see where this is going to get better. I'm hoping, Mackie, that all of this that's going on in the US, and I'll hand it back to you, that all this in the US that's going on, finding all of the well, it's not intended fraud and corruption. I think just finding things that you shouldn't, that don't support America's interest to the current people who are examining it. If you uncover anything that's fraudulent, I think it's really important to cheer about. That's fantastic. If there was $500 billion, $500 billion, that was unaccountable in, who was it again? The FBI, I think. Yeah, something like, what are the agencies? Oh, we just can't account for it. Well, we haven't passed an audit, but that's all right. That's it. Well, where did the money go? I don't even know, says the head of it. I don't know. Don't know where the money went. Well, surely, if it was a business, you'd fail the audit, and there you go. Good luck with that. So, can you trust anyone who's got that much leakage? Like half of all your budget is leakage, and you can't account for it? Like, what on earth's going on in this world? So
it's not new, though.
No, it's not new. It's been going on forever. But
no, you're gone.
No. I'm just winding up my thought. So, is the rest of the world going to slowly emerge beneath the US and what it's doing, and approving it and doing it in their own place, or are they going to close their books, burn it all down, and pretend like they were never ever doing anything wrong? I don't know. Or double down so they never did it.
No, America as a global influencer is very much dead. There's just no more American influence to speak of. That's what America really wanted as well. So, yes, they got a powerful military. Economically, they're still, something to reckon with. But other than that, America as a yardstick for anything, that's now done. That's finished. The oddest thing, though, and what I meant before was, of course, the Pentagon losing, $2 trillion on September 10. But the oddest thing I watched this week on TV was Elon Musk in the Oval Office with his son on his shoulders, and Trump sort of sitting there. But I'll be honest with you, that was the most awkward, oddest thing I've ever seen. Trump was at the desk, the resolution desk, and Elon Musk was standing there with his baseball cap and his 4-year-old son, which he called X. Again, up to him, he can do that. He was sort of giving a press conference, kind of, like he was answering reporters' questions again in the Oval Office. And it felt like that Donald Trump was sort of like an interloper in some ways, like it was really Elon Musk's office in some ways. I know it sounds strange, but that's the feeling I got. It was just the oddest feeling I had when I looked at it. But like I said, Donald Trump wasn't really interested. I had a boss who was never really interested. Whenever we talked about in a senior leadership team, we talked about anything to do with human beings or programs to make work better or whatever. He would switch off completely. Not interested. Yeah, whatever. Right? But as soon as you start talking numbers, he was all there. I want to know about numbers. Tell me numbers. I want numbers. Numbers are good. Right? This was the same. Donald Trump wasn't really interested in anything he had to say. Donald Trump is not really interested in saving money in the U.S. economy, but he's interested in these big headlines. What he said to Elon Musk, tell them about the lady that made $30 million, right? Now, that's not entirely true. If you look at the facts behind it, no, facts aren't really, nobody likes facts anymore. She actually had a high net worth when she went into the office, right? And anyway, but I don't think she defrauded the government of $30 million. And the other thing is that waste in government is not new, right? And everybody wants to reduce it. If you ever watched Yes Minister or Yes Prime Minister and all the old British series from the 70s, that is 70s and 80s, it was a comedy parody of the world, except it wasn't. You will understand that people have tried to do this a lot in the past, and everybody has failed. Now the question, of course, why have these people failed? Why have they failed to make any progress when it comes to reducing government? Because the government itself is not interested. And I'm not talking about the politicians. I'm talking about the bureaucrats. They are not interested in being downsized. Okay, it's not interested. And the funny thing is, they are the ones that would have to action all these things as well. And he's facing a lot of court challenges at the moment. Donald Trump is, I should say. And I'm not sure that he can simply abolish agencies, right? If they were created by act of Congress, then Congress has to dissolve them. And that's why he's in court at the moment, right? That's why USAID is still there as an organization. He sort of kind of stopped the funding in some ways. But the key thing here is this, and this is important for everybody, Dave. Right now, they're talking about some 200,000 government employees that could be on the chopping block, right? Mm-hmm. About 200,000. What do you think would happen to the American economy if another 200,000 people became unemployed?
This was my greatest thought, was how bad the American economy would be by getting rid of all of those public service people. However, they're not, in the traditional sense in America, you can just be severed. They don't give you severance pay.
Oh, no. I'm not worried about that.
This is like 6 months severance pay. So you wouldn't see the net result of the loss for at least another maybe 6 to 12 months later.
Possibly, but it'd be a massive impact, right? And that's only the beginning, to be clear, right? Mm-hmm. these 200,000 people. There's just many more that they want to rationalize. And again, I'm glad the American people or anyone actually is now seeing what it looks like to be part of a large corporation, because that's exactly what happens inside a large corporation. I've been living this for decades now. This is exactly what happens in the world. If you're part of a corporation, that's how a corporation functions. There's no other way. A corporation knows one thing: it's to make money, and if it can't make money, it has to save money, right? And saving money, well, what's that? Well, that's essentially getting rid of
just
folk.
Keep trimming until your books balance.
Well, yeah. Essentially, and unfortunately, that's exactly where we are right now, right? It's not really rocket science, right? We're not. Well, I'm not surprised by what is happening, to be honest with you, because that's all Donald Trump knows. He doesn't know anything else. And I'm not saying this is a criticism. I'm saying this is a way of explanation. He doesn't understand that he can't run a country like a corporation, because a country, like I said before, is there to serve the people. Now, we seem to be forgetting that. Now, is the federal government of the United States too big? In many other countries, is it too big? Yes. Government should be smaller. Government expenditures should be smaller. Bureaucracy should be cut down significantly, right? In my opinion. That's my opinion. Absolutely. But there are knock-on effects. And if you're making 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people unemployed in an already volatile economy, you're going to be okay. I mean, look, Elon Musk is going to be okay. He's a billionaire. He's literally the richest man in the world, so he's going to be okay. I know you're worried about him, Dave.
Oh,
I can assure you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, he's going to be just fine. And I find this incredible that, again, I come back to the point I made some time ago. I find it astounding that people in America believe that Donald Trump, who is a billionaire, who likes the company of billionaires, would do anything for them that would in any way actually help them. I find this amazing, this belief. I don't know where it comes from, but it must be the top delusional belief in our time. There is why do you think a person that has made it their business to do shonky deals, and you can look them up yourself, I'm not telling you anything new, hopefully, why that person all of a sudden would have a change of heart and act in America's, and by America's I mean in the people's best interest? It just doesn't happen. I'm sorry. I hate to burst your bubble, everybody, but that's not Donald Trump. It's not even close to being Donald Trump, right? It's it's hilarious as far as I'm concerned. And you will see all of the things that are going to happen. All of them. None of them are going to be good. Okay, prediction, Dave. There will be a depression. America is going to have a depression. Okay? The tariffs, the slowdown in trade, the global slowdown in trade, if it happens, the mass layoff of staff, if it should happen, it hasn't happened yet, but if it should happen, all of those things together will lead to a massive economic problem for the United States. It will. Could it have another outcome? Sure. If by some miracle companies decide, you know what, we're going to start manufacturing in America again. Okay. Yes, we will. We will make sure that we're going to make everything here again, and it won't be made in China or wherever. If that were to happen, okay, I can see it. Will it happen? Corporations are too in love with profit for that ever to happen. America is just too expensive a place to work. American labor is too expensive. I'm sorry, everybody. It just is. Okay. It's too expensive.
Well, it can't get cheaper. That's
the American labor. Well, it could. It could if there was a reset.
Mm-hmm.
If there were a reset, and
this is like an advertising show. It's like,
right?
Here's the problem, and guess what? Here's the solution.
Well, yeah.
I got a solution for you. It put what is it? Wait. It put North Haverbrook on the map. Ogdenville. Ogdenville and North Haverbrook.
Yeah, monorail. We do love The Simpsons, and they've predicted a few interesting things for this year, so we'll see. No, it's an impossibility for America to prosper under these circumstances. It's just not going to happen. And then, Palestinians are going to go to Egypt to live, in Jordan. That's not going to happen either. So there's a whole bunch of ideas that are being thrown out. And again, it reminds me of nothing more than the corporate world. Mm-hmm. I've had, in my many years in the corporate world, I've had a lot of people say a lot of things, and none of them made any sense. They just say these things. They just say them, right? They just, and then they walk away. And you think, what? Did that just happen? And the answer is yes. Yes, it did just happen. What did they mean? And no one knows.
Yeah, I remember quantum computing. There still isn't one that runs for more than 90 seconds, but that's all right. That doesn't matter. Wait, what's the matter?
Yeah.
Because we should sell quantum computing to our clients.
Yes.
Right? You know this one. So we should sell quantum computing. So, okay, that when? Oh, we should already be doing it.
Well, yeah. What?
Yeah, sure.
We're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, that's right. We don't want to be last. Well, so far, no one's first. Because there isn't one that's running full time yet. And, well, we're still kind of, working it out. Oh, no, we should be selling it. Yeah, okay. All right. Is there anyone else I can talk to?
I don't like what you're saying. I read in the magazine that we should be selling it now. Lampoons.
It's funny, Mackie, when you come in contact with those people. I had a conversation this week about with people on the internet. Funny that. Never ask the internet a question, we get a trillion wrong answers, and you won't ever get the right one. Never do you get the right answer. But I tried to make it nice. I really tried not to feed the trolls, and I gave some advice to someone because of trolls, and I said, you just don't read the comments. That's the first thing you did wrong, was read the comments. This is a person, I don't want to say who they are, but it's a person who I've worked with, but not in a professional sense. I've worked with I was trying to achieve something, and I asked them for some help because they were the person who did it. And look, it's been good, but this person is rather famous for what they do in their industry, and they experienced the wrong side of the internet. The haters, okay. The people who only read the headlines, and that became something Mackie and I discovered, right, with a friend, a combined. I didn't know them until I got dragged into it. Then I was like, oh my, really? Is this what they do? Right? And I sat with my popcorn, and also feeding the trolls. It's like, if you're a seal trainer and using fish, or a dolphin trainer using fish to feed them, they're just getting fed. That's all they do. And they keep coming back for more. You're feeding them. Stop it. The Simpsons said it, right? If you stop paying attention to advertising, they'll just go away. You remember the advertising mascot episode? Yeah. So we see in the professional sense as well, people saying nonsensical stuff because they read the headline. Hey, I brought it back. Look at me. I did something. This is, I think, the struggle in our everyday lives, that people don't want to know any more than the headline. And you can word a headline to make it seem like it's one way, but the article is the other way. And you'll get readers reading the article. Remember the olden days with newspapers? You'll get, oh, look at the headline. But there was any there to sell the paper, you pork chop. Go. And now back to you in the studio.
Oh no! Look, it's a thing, right? I'm really concerned because there are many things coming to, like I said, a shift to the right. There's people, picking and choosing what they want to believe. Confirmation bias. We've never been in a situation like this, Dave, before.
No,
and
you're right.
to your internet point, we've never had the internet before in a situation like this. I mean, Goebbels. Oh my God, he would have frothed at the mouth if he had the internet.
Well, no, apart from the selling a lie idea, but like the North Koreans, Mackie, who are fighting for Russia, who've now got access to the internet, well, they just stopped fighting for a while because they discovered the wrong side of the internet.
Yeah, it's like what?
And were incapable then of fighting because they were too busy doing something else.
There you go. Hey, we know what the internet is for, right? What's it?
It was
Q. Avenue Q. That's it. Avenue Q. That's the one.
The internet is for.
The internet is for.
They had a whole song around it.
Oh, it was hilarious.
But Dr. Cox, Mickey, Dr. Cox from the medical show Scrubs,
right?
He had a really nice little rant about it, and said if all of the of porn was removed from the internet, there'd only be one website left, and it would say "Bring back the porn." That's it. North Koreans now are, some of those who are still alive in the conflict, they'd be saying the same thing. So look, you're right. You're absolutely right. Now back to you, Mackie, with Goebbels loving the internet and being able to say whatever you wanted.
Well, look, freedom of speech is important, yes, but there are limits. You shouldn't call for violence. You shouldn't be allowed to. You shouldn't be allowed to incite or spread hate, as it were. I mean, ideally, look at me talking about ideals. Ideally, the internet would have facts. Like, I mean, actual, like, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? Like,
Sorry. Am I laughing out loud?
Yeah, I know. It'd be nice if it were. It'd be really cool. Imagine an AI that runs the internet and only allows things on it that are factually true, or if you flag it, it could be satire or parody or comedy or whatever, and then it could be whatever, as long as you mark it as fictional.
Yes.
Then the AI goes, oh, it's fictional. It's flagged as fictional. Off we go.
And then all the conspiracy theorists would all be making fictional TV shows or internet shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but even if it's controversial, it should be allowed. Like, I give an example. Graham Hancock, right, in his research, not just him, but others, like even the ancient alien guys.
Yes.
Because we don't know.
That's
right. My point is, we don't know. If you don't know, then it should be allowed for discussion. What shouldn't be allowed is saying, kill all these or those. That shouldn't be allowed. Okay?
And aliens aren't real. I mean, I'm sure that it would annoy the aliens to hear that they're not real, but
now on the
not saying the ones who visit here are.
On the balance of evidence and just simple statistics, looking at the size of everything, right? I'm talking about the universe now. To state that there is no life outside of the Earth, so let's call them extraterrestrials, whatever.
Sure.
That's a nonsense. That's a complete nonsense.
That's right.
We know that from a purely stochastic point of view, that's a completely false statement. Anyone that would deny the existence of other life elsewhere in quite completely different, possibly, is a fool, and should be treated as such. I'm not saying that we have. Well, there's some, but I'm not saying that we have incontrovertible evidence that we have been visited. We know that there's some strange things going on for sure. Yes, we know that. We don't know what they are, but we do know there are some very, very strange things. And the
Drake
evidence
equation suggests that there should be life teeming with life.
100%. But again, but the Drake equation is also arbitrary. I mean, who's to say
that's right
that his assumptions, bear out? But the thing is this: there are just purely by by the evidence that we have, and not direct evidence, but indirect evidence of things that go on and that we capture by accident sometimes, we do know that things are not at all how we think they are. Not at all. And the safest thing for us is to take the position of, well, I don't really know, right? I've got my suspicions, I've got some theories, but anyone who will sit on their point of view and defend it to the death is a fool. Because chances are you're wrong, okay? You're completely wrong.
That's right, because you have to ask yourself, where are all the debunkers now? Because remember, that was the position they took.
Yeah.
They took the position just to say no. I mean, for no's sake, maybe. Maybe it was part of Project Mockingbird. Maybe they were getting paid by the government to say it didn't exist.
Yes.
I mean,
Hynek
was employed to try and find ways to explain it away, and in the end, he was a complete believer.
Yes, that is correct.
Complete. He was even in the movie.
Yes. Now, the funny thing is this, Dave, and this is over the last, 13 years. We've been doing this show for 13 years, but Dave has been interested in this subject matter across the board for many decades before that.
That's right.
Which is really how we came to be on the show.
That's right. And
to be friends. Yeah, I think that's also a good point. Yeah, and it is without false modesty or hubris, the opposite. That I say that we know a lot, but we also know that there's a lot of stuff we don't know. Mm-hmm. And we have amassed a lot of research material, and we really have over the years, from all over the place, talking to firsthand, having interviews, archives, freedom of information, documentation, etc. Scholarly documents that have been published, translations, etc., etc., etc. What we found is that whenever scientists went into something of a mystery or controversial subject, and they really were serious about wanting to debunk it. Not just armchair debunkers, but actually trying to gather empirical data to say once and for all, this is a nonsense. We found that people like that usually became believers.
Oh, absolutely.
We saw this. Mm-hmm. We saw it with the UFO, UAP phenomenon. We saw it with reincarnation. We saw it with telepathy. We saw it with ancient history. We saw it with a great variety of different mysteries.
Even the Khosrow mirror.
Yes.
That's right.
And once you earnestly, right, and in good faith, start looking at it rather than just it's all nonsense. How come? Everybody knows. Once you get away from that, and you actually start researching, and you go, okay, let's look at this in anger. Let's look at this like honestly. I mean, if it's nothing, then we should be able to prove it. We should be able to say, well, this is all complete nonsense.
That's right.
Right? Except, of course, the evidence that comes along speaks otherwise.
It piles up and it becomes undeniable. David Paulides, not just Hynek, but Paulides as well with 411. 411. Yeah, totally.
There's so many different instances where you have researchers. I mean, look at the age of settlement for the Americas. Yeah. Right? Everybody said, no, it's the Bering Strait, Bering Strait, Bering Strait, Bering Strait. Now we know in the salt flats, for example, we've got footprints that are way too old. And we also now have genetic evidence in South America,
that's right,
not North America,
that second haplogroup group. Yeah,
that points to Pacific influence. So they didn't come across the Bering Strait. They must have sailed across the Pacific to get to South America, because they left no genetic evidence at all in North America. None. Zero.
Yes, but we still have the mounds in North America, which don't make a lick of sense to anyone. Everyone denies the fact that they even exist. Yeah.
There's so much out there, and this is where it gets conspiratorial, you see. And Göbekli Tepe is the best example of that.
No.
Where they decided, we're going to bury it for another 100 years. What? Because it's clearly a push to push us away. Sorry, pardon the double Dutch, but there's a push to move us away.
To push us away.
From you know, from these subjects, from these research items, from I mean, the entire field of the let's call it the paranormal, because it's everywhere. So you know,
it's the normal because it's here.
It's the normal.
That's
yes,
right.
Dave. Exactly right. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you start going down that route, you're already excluded from the establishment because you're a crackpot.
Well,
right?
Well, you know, I'm gonna say something in that same vein, Mickey, who ultimately paid for the silencing of Göbekli Tepe, BlackRock.
Yeah.
BlackRock ultimately paid to silence it.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So how? I mean, you could find them guilty of doing everything on the planet. Everything, because they're on both sides. They're on all sides. They're upside down. It's the panopticon of organisations that just have money in everything. Because you know, once you own everything, then it's only one of you. It's not multifaceted anymore. But you can research it back to, and there's people who own the majority of BlackRock, so they would be then in control and not BlackRock. It worries me, Mackie, that we live in a world which, on the face of it, looks like where this is Neo in the Matrix, that we you think we're in control of our own destiny, but ultimately no, there's other people in control.
Correct. That's exactly right. And I want to say in control for a long time.
Yes, and I agree with that.
In fact, right? So I want to say that there's very little we can do about this. There's very little we can do to change things in many ways, right? We are pushed into a corner, and we're meant to stay there. Now, people that don't stay there have their careers destroyed, right? If they try to step into the limelight, or in the case of more dangerous research like energy research or medication, etc., they are done away with.
They disappeared. That's
they,
right.
Yeah,
accidented.
Accidented. Some are beaten to death. Research is stolen. I mean, Tesla. In my opinion, he was executed. He was assassinated. Not executed. He was assassinated, and his research, a good chunk of it, was stolen.
They had to leave some for people to find.
That's right. But
they
there
took
were a
all
few
the good bits.
Yeah, there were a few boxes short, right?
And that's exactly about the time when the anti-gravity stuff started to emerge and then disappear.
Disappear. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right.
And look, this is just where we are, right? And I do fear that the current administration in the United States is playing into the hands of the resetters at the moment.
The resetters, because they're members anyway.
Well, of course they are.
Of course they are, because that's the group. They are the actual demographic. They're all billionaires. They're all members of the Billionaires Club and the WEF. So, look, if you think it's good now, well then set your watch for a year's time and see how it is. That's why I've got my popcorn. That's why I'm watching. And every day I'm seeing more. Oh, I forgot to mention. I've been putting some things on the screen. Do pause it for those things that you see. There's a new story behind them that backs it. Maybe I'll talk about them on Tuesday. I'm not sure. But there was a very interesting thing from Ben Bernanke about the $500 billion or trillion, I don't know what it is. Yeah, $500 billion that was sent to all the central banks in the world. It's very interesting. It's a good watch. It's on the screen right now if you want to have a look. But look, I know this. We've come to the end of the first hour. After the first hour has concluded, when we come back from the break, we're going to be talking about the Golden Age, and this is part 3 in the show cycle. So if you've not been caught up, do catch yourself up with it, so you're not left in the lurch. And there's the music. Take the time to donate. in between the break, maybe a little toilet break. But we'll be back. It's only a short break. We'll see you right at the top of the hour, 3 minutes' time.